And we're back. Mike Cernovich, DangerPlay.com, Gorilla Mindset. Just got back from the gym. I got a little hair out of place. Fake news. Fake news is everywhere. So I did today what the fake news media won't do. How you guys doing? So this big rushing. I know the hair's bad, man. Hold on, I'm gonna comb it real quick. Hold on, I'll be right back. Talk to each other. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to comb the hair. Man, that was a mess. Whew. All right, so I did today. See how shiny it gets? I just a little out of place. There we go. This is a great brush, by the way. I don't know where you get this from. It is a Tangle Teaser. Two E's. Tangle Teaser. Probably a pet shop. You're right. Could be. There we go. See how that sheen returns? All right. Anyway, so the fake news media, big. Is it really a pet? It might actually be a pet brush. Anyway, so today a big report came. Russian hackers. At it again. So what did I do? Well, I actually read the report. That is what I do. I read the report. So let me tell you what the report says. The report admits that is a hoax. You can't make this up. The report says this is a declassified version of a highly classified assessment. Its conclusions are identical to those in the highly classified assessment, but this version does not include the full supporting information on key elements of the influence campaign. Let me read you that again. You're not going to find that on CNN or LA Times and New York Times. This version does not include the full supporting information on key elements of the influence campaign. I'm a lawyer. You know what that is legalese for? Do you know what that is legalese for? They ain't no proof in here. That is legalese for there ain't no proof. I ain't got fucking shit. Sorry. Cyrus in the other room so I can cuss. That's just legalese. This report does not include the full supporting information. In other words, there's no proof. There's literally no evidence in the report. There's none. There is no evidence. But it gets worse. This report is such a joke. It mentions trolls. It mentions trolls 6 times. I kid you not. So let me tell you the difference between an evidence and a conclusion. Right? An evidence and a conclusion. Mike Cernovich is the most amazing man who ever lived. Read this report. And the report says Mike Cernovich is the most amazing man who ever lived. That isn't actually evidence. That is what you call, that's an assertion. I've made an assertion. If you want to make an assertion, you got to have evidence. Otherwise, you don't have anything, right? All this report does is makes an assertion. Russia was involved. That's all it says. Russia was involved, blah, 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 blah. There's no actual evidence that Russia's involved. If you said that Russia was involved, you would need to present evidence for that assertion. The assertion is Russia hacked the election. So I don't want to bore you. If I'm boring you, tell me. If I'm boring you, by the way. First glass of wine for the night. If I'm boring you, tell me. But let's just look at this the way I would as a lawyer, as a philosopher, as America's preeminent mindset expert. Russia hacked the election. A thinker, an actual thinker, unlike a fake news media journalist, would say, well, define Russia, define hacked, and define election. Right? That's what lawyers do. You look at different terms. So define Russia. Do you mean Russian individuals, the Russian government, the Kremlin, Putin, somebody who likes Russia, a nonprofit Russia? You got to define Russia. Hacked. Well, define hack. What does it mean that they hacked? Did they hack the voting machines? Did they hack John Podesta's email? Did they hack the DNC? Did they hack WikiLeaks? What did they actually hack, right? So you have to define hacked. What did they hack? The election. Well, what does the election mean? Does the election mean the actual voting booth, the ballots, the process of information leading up to the election? What does it actually mean? So just a 3-word sentence, Russia hacked election, you can now have an hour-long conversation on, we'll define your terms. The fake news media, they're just saying, Russia hacked the election. So here's what this report tells you. I'm not kidding you guys. This report was such a joke. This report was such a joke that I'm angry that I even had to read it. This report is such a joke that I'm thinking, bro, it's a Friday night. Don't worry, I'm not neglecting Syra. Syra's right next door with her mom and her grandma. And the grandma loves Syra so much, so I already got the 2 hours of Syra time in. But it's such a joke that luckily the grandma's here with my daughter. I would think, dude, this is how you spend an hour of your time. I would rather watch Anthony Bourdain or Diners. I could have watched 2 episodes of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives and learned more watching Triple D with Guy Fieri. I could have watched Triple D with Guy Fieri and learned more than reading this piece of shit report. So let me tell you the evidence. This is a direct quote. Russia Today, now known as RT, focuses on social media building audience. This is a headline. I'm not kidding you guys. To prove that Russia hacked the election, or whatever that means, they said that according to RT management, RT's website receives at least 500,000 unique viewers every day. Since its inception in 2005, RT videos received more than 800 million views on YouTube, 1 million views per day, which is the highest among news outlets. Okay, so Russia Today are good at Twitter and YouTube. And they get a lot of YouTube views. Okay, what does that actually prove? What does that actually prove of anything? Russia Today is popular. Okay, cool story, bro. Cool story, bro. But you want to know the coup d'etat? You want to know one of the coup d'etats? Did I say that right? Coup d'etat. This is fantastic. So there's a quote in here. There's a quote in here. A journalist who is a leading expert on the Internet Research Agency claimed that some social media accounts that appeared to be tied to Russia's professional trolls started to advocate for Trump as early as December 2015. All right, for those of you who are new here, that is about me, actually. There's literally a paragraph in this report about me. There was this loony lady, Louis Mitch, who has admitted that her brain was fried to drugs, and she wrote an article saying that I was part of a Russian troll network. This paragraph is literally about me. For those of you who don't know, Cernovich, Heat Street, Russian trolls. For those of you who don't know, that is literally about me. That's about me. And this woman who wrote this got fired. So Heat Street. I hate to give people free PR. I never linked to this article when it came out. But this goofy lady wrote an article saying that Cernovich and Paul Joseph Watson, right? She accuses me of being a part of a Russian troll network, and this is the journalist cited. This is the journalist cited in a fucking intel. I can cuss because Cyrus in the other room. This is the story they're talking about. A journalist who's a leading expert on Internet Research Agency claimed that some social media accounts appear to be tied to Russian trolls. So if you go read the report and you read that paragraph right there, and then you actually go over here, Russian intel bots are boosting. So it's about me. That's a paragraph. So there is I am now, Mike Cernovich, I am now on a watch list. I'm on a watch list now. I'm on intel. I have ties to Russian troll networks. Boy, that sure would be, you know. Yeah, I'm literally tied to Russian spy networks now. Mike Cernovich, dangerandplay.com, Guerrilla Mindset. Right? So that's what's cited in this shit. That is what garbage this intel report is. Mike Cernovich is tied to the Russian troll networks because Louis Mensch, hold on, let me show you. Oh, it gets better. Because when you live this stuff, as I do, which God knows if I'm wasting my time or not. Sometimes I'm wondering what the hell I'm doing with my life, man. But let me just show you the source of this story. So this is what we'll call a 3-act play. Let me set it in right. Act 1. Intelligence report claims that a journalist who's a leading expert on this kind of stuff claimed that social media accounts appear to be tied to Russia troll networks. Act 1. Act 2. Oh, it's Louis Mensch talking about Mike Cernovich. You ready for Act 3? You ready for the final act? Are you ready to see who wrote this article about Russian troll bots? Act 3. Act 3 is coming. She literally fried her brains from being a drug addict. Act 3. That is the journalist cited in this intelligence report by the government, Louis Mensch. She was a groupie who did a lot of drugs and banged rock stars. And now that is who wrote the article calling me a Russian troll. No, here you go. Intelligence report, journalists, right? Part 1, or Act 1. Act 2, here's the article talking about Cernovich by her, claiming, Cernovich is this part of Putin, Cernovich and Putin. And then Act 3 is conservative MP admitted taking drugs, left with long-term mental health problems. So the intelligence report now are literally citing a person who blew up her brain with drugs. I'm not surprised really, but that just goes to show you how bizarre the world is. That's who they cite, a woman who literally admitted her brain was fried with drugs. Yeah, you can't, Samurai Ghost, you can't make this up. No, you're right. If I were in a creative writing class, if I was in a creative writing class and I wrote a short story about an intelligence report relying on an article written by an admitted drug addict who has brain problems, the professor would say, Mike, sorry, but this is not believable. This is not a believable story. Even if it's fiction, it still has to have verisimilitude, is the term of art. Verisimilitude. They would say, Cernovich, this does not have verisimilitude. Even fiction must feel real. It must have elements of realism to it. And what you're telling me is that an official government report by the intelligence community is citing an admitted drug addict who falsely accused you of being part of a Russian troll army spy network thing. Sorry, you gotta redo this story. C-. Better luck next time. That's what it goes to show. That's what it goes to show. Can you believe it? That is the intelligence community. That's what they do. Falsely accuse me of being part of Russian troll army. And trolls are mentioned 6 times in the report. That's another thing. It's always funny to do a Control F. Russia used trolls as well as RT as part of its influence efforts to denigrate Secretary Clinton. This effort amplified stories on scandals about Secretary Clinton and the role of WikiLeaks in the campaign. That's the assertion. To prove that assertion, they cite Louis Mensch, who says I'm part of a Russian troll thing. Man. What a weird world we live in. We are now, so I am now on government watch lists. I am now a target of the intelligence community because of lies from this crazy. Yeah, what's going on?
I'm making salmon and pasta. Would you like some?
No, I'm good actually.
Are you sure it's 7?
I'm positive I'll take a bottle of water.
You're not going to be hungry until like midnight?
I know, but I gotta cut the cows. Give me a water. I'll just have a glass of water. Yeah, so that is, I'm now on FBI spy watch list. For what, you know? Because I'm part of some Russian weird thing. So weird, man. So weird. Thanks, babe. It's hot up here. Is the heat on?
I don't think so.
When's our gorilla painting get done?
I think it's done. You should hit up the...
I'm tired of people making fun of this painting.
Wait, I don't care. The gorilla painting's going in our bedroom.
I gotta move this though.
No, this is art.
I gotta get trolled too much by it though.
We don't care what they say, Michael. Art is subjective.
It's not good branding though. It's off-brand. I need a branding opportunity.
Three
right
Mexican
there.
kids in sombreros is off-brand.
It's a cool picture, but I need a film poster. I need branding.
Yeah, get your sound poster.
Yeah, so give me a frame or something. All right. So that is where, leave the door open, it's hot in here. Yeah, that is the weird world we live in now.
Maybe turn the fan on.
It'll cause back noise though, see? Just leave the door open. Like, leave the door open, babe, it's cracked.
I know, you're loud.
Who's loud?
You.
Yeah, so that is, that's what bizarro world we live in. Fake news. These reports are all fake news. What about Seth Rich? Exactly. What about Seth Rich? Dude, you are lost. How am I lost? I just debunked this fake news report tonight. I just completely destroyed a media hoax. I need a pinball machine. Why do I need a pinball machine, guys? Why would I need a pinball machine? I need a branding opportunity right there. That's valuable real estate being taken up by a non-branded opportunity. So, if you look over there, I have the books to make me look like a smart guy, you know? Look intelligent. That there needs to be branding something. Some kind of thing, right? Otherwise, it's just art. It doesn't do anything to my brand. You gotta build the brand, guys. They're not fake books. How can I prove it? Hold on a sec. Let me see. Where is... Here's how you can prove you're not fake books. How do you prove a books aren't fake? How do you prove they've been read? Well, you got to open them bad boys up and you got to look for notes. See? If you ever want to know if they're fake books, you got to open them up. I'll even read you what I highlighted. This is what I found highlight worthy in this book. Negative emotions enhance perception of pain, but they do so in a way that is perceptually and anatomically different from attentional effects. Negative emotions boost pain-evoked activity in the anterior cingulate cortex and increase the ratings of pain's unpleasantness, but not their intensity. The end result is both the The end result is that both the sensory discriminative and the affective emotional aspects of pain perception are subject to cognitive and emotional modulation. And in the real world, the cognitive and emotional are highly independent. For example, pain unpleasantness, when endured persistently, engages the prefrontal cortex, a region involved in rumination and reflection about the future implications of persistent pain. How long will this pain endure? Will the pain start again? Is it under my control or not? How safe am I? These prefrontal cortex-based ruminative processes contributed to my youthful anxiety about the impending injection and exerted their effects in part through descending pathways to the spinal cord. And many people, this sets up a vicious cycle, a positive feedback loop in which rumination boosts pain and unpleasantness, which in turn triggers additional anxiety and rumination. This is why tranquilizers, like the benzodiazepines, can be useful in treating pain, particularly chronic pain. Even if those drugs don't affect pain perception directly, they reduce anxiety and therefore help to attenuate pain and unpleasantness and break the positive feedback loop. On average, people suffering from mood disorders are at significantly greater risk for developing chronic pain. Great book, by the way. Spectacular book. So basically, what they're telling you is that if you think about, oh my God, the dread is worse than the pain itself. If you think, oh my God, when is the pain going to come? Freaking out, then you create the spiral. It creates a negative spiral. You're thinking, oh, I'm dreading the pain's going to be worse. And then the pain hurts worse. That's why depressed people have chronic pain. It's a mindset thing, right? When you are, for example, when you are aware of your heart beating faster, you feel more uneasy and threatened. This is another positive feedback loop that can contribute to chronic pain. Subconscious fight or flight responses evoked by pain boost anxiety, which in turn increases pain. This is such a great book, by the way. This is one of the best books I've read in the past. This would be a top 10 book that I've read in the past 5 years. I've recommended it before, David Linden Touch. So yeah, you can see, in other words, while it might hurt to accidentally hit your thumb with a hammer, at least you know how it happened. And you feel as if you can control the situation. This knowledge reduces the sense of threat and thereby attenuates the pain. Conversely, not knowing when a pain stimulus will occur again boosts both the intensity and unpleasant of this experience. So this is all mindset stuff, right? This is about pain, what causes it, the physiology of pain, how to deal with pain, the power of your focus, your attention, right? And that's what this is all about. Yeah, so that's what I do. That's what I do. I like to just think about life, the human condition. And this is what I need to get back into. This is why, the journalism stuff I think about leaving every day. This is what actually interests me, is the meaning of life. What does it all mean? That's why trolls always try to bring me down, but they really can't. Trolls are always trying to bring me down, but they can't bring me down because I know their game. So there's so much about trying to control what you can control in your life, and that impacts pain, perception. That's why you always got to tell you can never lose control of your mind, your mindset. You always got to tell yourself you're in control. And then when the attacks happen, they don't bother you as much. Right? We all have pain. We all have pain. So anyway, you are down, sir. I don't know what that means. You are down. People keep telling me my brand is dead, which I think is funny. Let's go look at the old brand update. Social Blade. How's the old Cernovich brand doing? How is the Cernovich brand doing? According to Social Blade, I picked up 1,400 followers yesterday and 1,844 followers today. So according to Social Blade, I'm at 186,000 followers, and I picked up, like 3,000 in the past 2 days. That's according to Social Blade. That's where my brand is, according to Social Blade. Excuse me. This has a little bit of a harsh finish. I'm not in love with this one. I just opened this bottle of wine, and I'm not. It's a Red Zinfandel from, I'm not sure what brand, but I'm not loving it. It's a little, what's the word? A little moldy, I guess. That would be the only taste. People would say, oh, it's like a cellar or something. A little musky. I think musky would be the actual term. But it's just a little moldy. I don't really like it. No frog leap tonight. I can't be drinking 40 bottles of wine every night, guys. This was like a $10 bottle. I had to experiment on it. Can't be drinking the Russian troll money, man. I can't be buying $40 a bottle every night, man. The election's over. The Russian troll money is running out, dude. So I just gotta drink. Just here to watch me sink. Just here to watch me sink. Haters. Gonna watch me sink. Gonna watch me sink. Good luck with that. Getting better every day. Getting better every day. I'm getting better every day. This wine, it's kind of, I'm not even going to drink anymore. I'm going to throw it away. Ugh. Well, that's disappointing. I just wasted money. Hate wasting money. Let's see what other books we got. What do we got? What do we got here? I'm trying to think of a book that is well highlighted. I can show you. What is a good one? I'll pull out, here we go. Here, let's clear this off. What do we got here? We already talked about some of these. I don't want to do repeats. Definitely don't want to do repeats. Hold on a sec. Shadowman is a great book. I read it on Kindle, though. A lot of the, yeah, that's the thing. Shadowman I read on Kindle. So I don't have, Click is good. Click is one of those good pop culture kind of books. Yeah, Click is good. Here, let's turn these around. So Click is, it's a little bit pop culture-y, but is about persuasion. It's a good book on persuasion. Man, I got the hookers invade me tonight. This is good too, strategic thinking skills. Does anybody subscribe to the great courses? Strategic thinking. You can take courses on this stuff. All these trolls coming at me, you can tell they've never taken strategic thinking. If anybody had ever taken a strategic thinking course, then they would know why recently I've been doing what I've been doing. But they can't see my moves. They can't see the game that I was playing. Because they've never actually taken strategic thinking. So it's a good course. I recommend it. You can watch the Teaching Company DVD, CD, or MP3. Or whatever digital download is. This is a good one, though. What other questions you guys got? Man, you worked for Russia and they only bought you books. I know, right? All that Russian money. And all I got to show for it is a few books. I haven't read this one yet. The Hard Thing About Hard Things. Ben Horowitz. Oh boy, the trolls are going to have a field day with this. I'm recommending a book by Horowitz. Oh, I can only imagine, the conspiracy theories now. Horowitz. Oh wow, here's Cernovich again. Just recommending Horowitz, right? It's just busted yet again, right? Busted shilling again. Shilling for Horowitz. See, I don't know if this is any good. The Hard Things About Hard Things. So is this David Horowitz's kid? Is Ben Horowitz related to David Horowitz, the Breitbart guy who wrote Breitbart and the Freedom thing or whatever? Ben Horowitz? I know a David Horowitz. I don't actually know who this guy is, Ben Horowitz. But anyway, I bought it because people who bought Peter Thiel's book 0 to 1 bought this. So it showed up on Amazon as a, if you read Peter Thiel's 0 to 1, people who bought 0 to 1 also read this book. I haven't read it yet. Every management guide presumes that all great companies follow a formula. But successful startups don't imitate. They build innovations that can't be copied. Ben Horowitz knows no recipe guarantees success. He has written the first true guide for protecting a startup from self-sabotage. Peter Thiel. That's what Peter Thiel says about the book. So I don't know. I haven't even opened it yet. I'm just opening it now for the first time. So I'll have to see. Could be good, could be basic. A lot of these books on startups are kind of basic, bitch. Maybe this one's good though. We'll see. Could be good. Too early to judge. I'll read it non-judgmentally. But I figure if it's good enough for Peter Thiel, it's good enough for me. So it is David Horowitz's kid. See you guys. Some of you guys are leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm just going to rant for a little bit. What else we got that's good? Oh, we got a couple. Oh, yeah, these are both good ones. Alright, these are good ones. Oh, hey. A lot of you asked me the acting book I've been reading. Here you go. The Actor's Craft. This is the Meisner technique. So you should read an acting book. It'll help you with all areas of your life. Then I've been reading a book on video script writing. I already read this one on Kindle, Fourth Generation Warfare. I read this one already. It's a good book, though. If you don't understand Fourth Generation War, you're in for big problems, for sure. And then this is a book on documentary I read. I don't know who Ryan Swaz is, okay? So yeah, this is a good book too. Been reading this. This one is, good lesson here for the fake news media. This is a good lesson for the fake news media about documentary, about everything. It's about viewer buy-in. The mistake a lot of people make, writers, directors, producers, you got to have buy-in from the audience or else you fail. All right, I don't know who this Ryan guy is, so I'm just going to block everybody because I'm tired of people asking me. It takes a lot of hard professional work to turn your record of what happened when the camera was on into a documentary that would be believed by an audience. So many people make this mistake. So many people don't understand that you have to be believed. It isn't what's true even. You got to tell the truth, obviously. But I've told people things that are true, and they have called me a liar. For example, today when I said that the Gawker wanted to publish sex tapes of children 5 years old, people said, Mike, you're a liar. Right? They called me a liar. I said, and then I showed them court record because it was too unbelievable. A lot of what I tell people is so outside the realm of their own experience that they can't believe it. So when I told them, Gawker said they would publish a sex tape if the child was 5 years old, people are like, you're lying. And then I showed them the court records, and they go, well, they never apologize. That's one thing that I've learned. You never get an apology. You never get an apology when people are wrong. That's what... Here's a good line about verisimilitude. Verisimilitude. Truth is stranger than fiction, because fiction is bound by rules, whereas truth rests on the chaos of reality. That's a great quote. That is a great quote. Truth is stranger than fiction, because fiction is bound by rules, whereas truth rests on the chaos of reality. That's a great quote. I'm going to tweet that out. I'm going to tweet that out. That is a great quote. That'll get a lot of retweets. That'll definitely be good for the brand. Truth is stranger than fiction, because fiction is bound by rules, whereas truth rests on the chaos of reality. Oh, that's good branding right there, I tell you. Barry Hemp, B-A-R-R-Y. Kind of ironic too that. Kind of ironic. All these guys are liberals. I can imagine like a lot of times I'll tweet it like I'll tweet about these people, you know, give them props, and they're like, oh God. They cringe because I'm reading their stuff, learning from them. I'm learning documentary films from the enemy, essentially. I'm the Hillary supporters. I'm learning acting and documentary filmmaking to become more persuasive, to make the right-wing message more powerful. And I'm learning it a lot from liberals. That's life, though, man. I'm sure liberals read Guerrilla Mindset, too. Problem is, if you read, not the problem, but if you read Guerrilla Mindset, you don't stand as a liberal too long. Once you read Guerrilla Mindset, you become right-wing. Another good. This is a lot of this stuff you already know if you're a writer. Audiences have the perverse habit of assuming that the way they think you are communicating is the way that you intended to communicate. As far as they are concerned, the message they get is the only message there is. That's a big persuasion key thing, right? Big persuasion. People think that their interpretation is what you intended. So as a speaker, a writer, an artist, a thinker, you got to remember that whatever they interpret is their reality. Whatever the reader, the viewer thinks is reality, that is reality. People don't realize that, though. Now, and the thing is about documentaries, it's hard to find modern books on documentary. This book was written I got this at the Strand bookstore in New York. This book is, I need to watch The War Room and The War Game. And I need to read, so when I read books, you know, that's the thing about learning. When you read books, you end up with more books to read, you know. So I read this book, and now I have homework. I have to watch The War Room, I have to watch The War Game, and then I need to read the new documentary in action. Yeah, that's life, man. You're never done. Yeah, there's a chapter on verisimilitude. This is another good quote. This is another good quote for everybody. It's not only important to communicate the message that you intend, it is equally important not to communicate a message that you don't intend. Big key. It is not only important to communicate the message that you intend, it is equally important not to communicate a message that you don't intend. So, Twitter is a bad medium for that. Because on Twitter, I say a lot of, or I'm much more careful now. I've said a lot of things that I didn't mean to say. Because they were interpreted differently. That's why when people get mad about my tweets, I'm just like, well, I mean, you know, you interpreted it that way. I can't control how you... It is not the will to win that's important. It is the will to prepare to win that really separates those who wish and dream from those who make it happen. It is not the will to win that's important. It's the will to prepare to win that really separates those who wish and dream from those who make it happen. I mean, it's true, right? Friday night, what am I doing? Sketching my next documentary, Hoaxed. Working on my documentary. Because Silenced was good, but Silenced was definitely not directed by me. I'll just put it that way. There's no question that I did not direct Silenced. I produced Silenced, but I did not direct it. And that is obvious. That's fucking real obvious. What do we got? We got any good quote? We got any other good quotes in here? We got any other good quotes in here? All right. We don't have any other good quotes in here. All right. What else we got? Do you wish you would have directed it then? I wouldn't have been capable of directing it. So I could not have directed. Silenced, Silenced is perfect. Why? because it couldn't have been anything else. Silence could not have been anything else. It had to be what it had to be. Now, because I didn't know how to direct. What else? What else you guys got for me? What other questions you got? What other questions you guys want? You guys want to call? You guys want to call and ask me a question? Do you guys want to call 800 number, ask me a question? I got a phone number. Have I read The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield? I have. Wasn't impressed. Stephen Pressfield's book, what was his book? What was the book on Sparta and the Spartans? Was a fantastic book. What was Stephen Pressfield's book on the Battle of Thermopylae? Can't remember what that was called. But it was a fantastic book. It was a fantastic book, and then I bought The War of Art, and it just wasn't that good, you know? I don't know. Hold on a sec. I'll go tell you real quick. All right, I'm back. All right, let's see here. What do we got on the old Kindle? No, we'll go to the library. What do we got? His book, Stephen Press's book, was spectacular. Way, way down there. I read it a long time ago, a couple years ago. Where is it? Can't find it. Maybe it was removed. Maybe it was removed from the machine. Wow, I've read some good books. Yeah, it must not be on this device. Definitely wasn't on this device. What am I reading right? What are some good books I've read? I'll show you. Donald Trump, Think Like a Champion was good. Anti-Fragile was good. I mean, I'll just show you a screen cap. A couple of these books are Shauna's. But here's the old Kindle. That's just kind of a sample of what I've been reading. Chosen Soldier, a book on Special Forces selection. Good book. Good book. What else we got going on here? On War, Fourth Generation Warfare by Richard Lance. Here's another good one. King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. Another great book. King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. Great book. Pimpology. I read a book by a pimp. It was actually kind of funny. Pimpology was funny. Ham on Rye, that's right, I'm a big Charles Bukowski fan. I've read most of Bukowski. Bukowski's great. Forgot about all those. It's the thing, you read so much you forget the books you read. You forget the books you read. So, Gates of Fire. That's Stephen Pressfield's book. That was the one I was thinking of. So yeah, I read it like 5 years ago, you know. So Gates of Fire by Stephen Pressfield was fantastic, but War of Art wasn't impressed with. So I'm not hating on him because Gates of Fire was one of the best books I've ever read, of all time. Fantastic book. War of Art was different though. A lot of people liked War of Art though. Very popular book. A lot of people like it. Yeah, so that's the thing about life is that we don't all like the same books, and you know what? That's okay. There are so many books in this world that you couldn't read them all before you died anyway. So it doesn't make a lot of people argue over books, and the way I look at it is, man or woman, if you're arguing over books, you could have read a book, and all the time you're arguing. Who cares if people like the same books as you like? That has always been my weird thing that I don't understand about people is people don't like the same books that you like. That is not an indictment on your character. You know? Doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means people like different people, you know? Just means people like different things. You wish you could rich so you could build an underground shelter. Why? Why do you need an underground shelter? It doesn't make any sense. Tom Wolfe, yeah, man. You know what's weird too about when you read a lot? Nobody tells you this. If you're a real hardcore reader, you'll understand this. When you read a lot of books, you have flashbacks to where you read the book. So I read Tom Wolfe's book, Bonfire of the Vanities, and I was vacationing in Costa Rica. So right when somebody goes, have you read Tom Wolfe? And I was like, I had a weird flashback as I was finishing the book on the ride back from some kind of outing in Costa Rica. And I was like, oh, I remember sitting here and who I was with, and across from me was this like other couple, and the girl was with the guy who was super hot, and she was a big Tom Wolfe fan, which was interesting coincidence. And her boyfriend didn't read. So then it became like a weird conversation where she's like, oh, I wish my boyfriend read like you. And I'm like, oh, man, don't do this whole like you're going to work out your relationship thing by using me as a conduit. You know, that's just going to get awkward real fast. So yeah, Bonfire of the Vanities, fantastic book. But yeah, I read that in Costa Rica. Went to Costa Rica twice. You don't read on vacation? Okay. But I do. And I've been meaning to read Tom Wolfe's latest book. I can't remember what it's called. I know James Altucher has a new book, Reinventing Yourself. Have I read Solzhenitsyn? Well, as a matter of fact, have I ever read Alexander Solzhenitsyn? Well, how about we just answer the old question? The old-fashioned way. Have I ever read Alexander Solzhenitsyn? We will answer that question for you. Hold on. Where is it? Come on. You're going to make me look like a liar, Kendall. Right here. Here we go. There's a Day in the Life of Ivan Cernovich. I can't even pronounce it. I'm paid by Russian spies. And I can't even pronounce One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. I can't even pronounce all this Russian troll money coming in. I can't even pronounce A Day in the Life. And then I do have The Gulag. I can't spell the Gulag. Archipelago? I can't pronounce it. But I just started reading that. So I'm not really that deep into that other one. But it's a good book. I got a bunch of books I gotta catch up. It's the thing, I gotta get off Twitter for a while, man. I gotta just take a vacation. Catch up on my reading. I want to read... What am I going to read? I want to finish reading Time Loops and Space Twists. That's a good book. And I want to finish The Lucifer Principle by Howard Bloom. DMT, The Spirit Molecule. Great book. Spirit Molecules. Oh, Shadowman. Here's Shadowman. So here, I do have Shadowman, fantastic book by Dr. Anthony Napoleon. Let's look at what I've highlighted. It's always fun to go look at the books you've read after you haven't read them for a while, then you kind of see what you highlight. So we will open up Shadowman. Impossible to Ignore, another great book. Here you go. Speaking of impossible to ignore, Creating Anticipation. So it's kind of interesting. Let's do a little thing that's kind of cool. This is what happens when you become a genuine expert. Trying to perform my books. So when you become a genuine subject matter expert, you can read unrelated subjects, seemingly unrelated, and you can tie them together. That's how you know the difference between people who know their shit and people who don't, to be quite honest. So right here, I'm reading a book, Impossible to Ignore, which I read already, on persuasion, how to be memorable. And one of the tips is create anticipation, which releases dopamine and sparks action. But this chapter here we just read on pain and emotion is that people who are anticipating pain can actually feel worse, right? So anticipation has two effects. If you create anticipation for something exciting or positive, people are happy, right? But if you create anticipation for something bad, people feel dread, and then that's how they break down. So you can read Impossible to Ignore and Touch. Seemingly two different books, right? These are in two different subjects. This isn't like, I don't know what category it is, but this book would be not in the same category as Impossible to Ignore. You wouldn't even see them. Here, I got Impossible to Ignore on Kindle and in paperback or hardback. So when I really like a book, this is just me. When I really like a book, I like to reward the author. So if I really like a book and I read it on Kindle, then I go buy the hardcover also because I want the author to get both royalties from the Kindle and from the hardcover. So a lot of people wouldn't realize these books are actually same thing, right? People would not know though. People would not know. Impossible to Ignore, Touch are both ultimately about the human condition. And studying the human condition is how you become persuasive and how you can predict elections, whereas other people can't. So if you read these books, then in MAGA Mindset, you're like, oh, so this book is much thinner because I don't explain myself. Right? So you read these books, and then this book could seem, oh, this is a book about Donald Trump. It's a book about Donald Trump. It's actually not. It's a book about the human condition. Just like this is a book about touch, but it's also a book about psychology, mindset, mindfulness, how to not have anxiety, how to be more present. Completely. This book, by the way, didn't sold for shit. This is the kind of book that as an author and as a marketer, because I'm a good author. I'm a great marketer. In terms of authors, I would say that I'm a top 20% writer. If you go, Mike, how good of a writer are you? I would say top 20%, maybe top 15%. Right? I'm not a 1% elite author. I'm not a brilliant stylist. I'm not George Orwell here, right? I wouldn't say I'm the greatest author in the world. I'm like a 85% author. But I'm a 99.9% marketer. There are very few people in the world, maybe 10, 12 people in the world who are as effective in as marketer design, right? So I read a book like Touch, and it breaks my heart because this is a top 10% book. This is a way up. This is a book that everybody who wants to understand themselves and other people should read at some point in their life. And then as an author, you kind of go through a bookstore and you think, you go to like the 99-cent book rack or whatever, and you're just like, every book was a dream. I'm going to get kind of weepy because I got to be careful. I get a little sentimental sometimes. But if you go into a bookstore, you think, oh, I'm a consumer of books. I'm going to buy books. I'm going to buy a pile of them. Maybe I'll read them. Maybe I'll just swing them around to look cool. To you, it's just like a consumptive good, right? Everybody who wrote a book, though, had dreams, man. That was a dream. It's like a graveyard. So I go to the 99-cent bargain bin discount thing, and I'm just like, wow, that was some man or woman's dream. Right there. And their dream failed. It's sort of like, did you ever watch Goonies? Where the kids or whatever are trying on the treasure hunt, and they think they found the treasure, but it's actually really coins that people had thrown into the wishing well. And every little penny or every quarter or whatever dollar was somebody's dream, right? They made a wish. That was their wish. Every author's book is a dream. They really wanted, this guy, David J. Linden, he put his heart and his soul into this book. That was his dream. And the book sold for shit. Just didn't sell well. Maybe it'll sell, maybe it's not too late to turn around. Here's another interesting trivia. This is gonna blow your. This will blow your mind. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, it's over here. I'll be right back. But this is why you can never give up, kiddos. Here is something that I did not know. Blew my mind. By the way, this is terrible wine. Would you open up the other bottle that I have down there? We're just gonna throw this away. Unless you want to drink it. Influence. Have you ever heard of influence? Nobody gives a shit about books? Blocked. Blocked. Go watch your internet porn if that's what you want to do on a Friday night. Go watch your internet porn and then wonder why women don't want to talk to you because you don't read. Women like men who read. Pro tip. Pro tip. Women like men who read. Go to the gym. If all you did as a man was read a lot of books and you went to the gym, you'd be getting a lot of sex. Or at least more than average. So anyway, Influence is iconic. Influence is an iconic book. Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, is iconic. Here's what I did not know about Influence. When Influence first appeared in 1984, it had little impact. Sales were so disappointing, my publisher withdrew allotted advertising and promotional funds, explaining that to do otherwise would be, quote, throwing money down a pit. Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, I read, speaking of when you read a book and you have a flashback. I remember I was in college, my junior year. I remember the college apartment room that I was in. And I remember reading Influence, and it completely changed the way I view the world. I was like, wow, right? And I just assumed Influence was always a massive, big success. For 5 years, man. For 5 years. It took 5 years before Influence caught on. So Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, which today is iconic, didn't sell for 5 years, man. Influence didn't sell for 5 years. That's why you can never give up on your dreams. That's why you never know. George R.R. Martin, that short little fat F-U-C-K, he didn't hit it big till he was like 55 or something. You know? People give up on their dreams too soon. People, they give up on their dreams too soon. But I've never really understood that, because what else are you going to do? That's what I always ask people. Because I get a lot of haters, you know, I get a lot of haters, and people go, Mike, what you say doesn't work. And I go, well, why not? Why not? And they go, well, because I tried it and it didn't work. And these people, they're usually like men who are 25. I mean, if you want to talk to somebody who knows everything, find yourself the nearest man or male who's 25. Find yourself a 25-year-old man, and that person knows everything about the world. So they'll be like, Mike, what you say doesn't work. I'm like, well, why? And they go, because I tried it, it didn't work. And then I say, well, what are you going to do then with your time? What are you going to do with your time? Right? You got to do something with your time. You're 25. These people are 25, man. And I would say, well, then what else are you going to do with your time? Well, I don't know. Like the guy earlier. I don't want to hear about books. Then go watch internet porn, because that's what he's going to do. He's going to go watch porn instead of reading a book. I went to the gym. I'm reading. Right? Went to the gym already. And I'm reading, and I'm dreaming. I get dreams still. I still got dreams. I had a dream that Silenced would be the pumping iron of free speech documentaries. I thought, man, we got Alan Dershowitz, we got Weave, a neo-Nazi, we got Ricky Vaughn, we got Milo, Dave Rubin, Gavin McInnes, Hotep. Where else can you find Hotep, neo-Nazis, Zionist Jews, rabbis, imams, Muslim feminists, teachers, Catholic Orthodox priests? And I thought, Silence is going to be iconic. It's going to be iconic. How could it not be? And you know what? It isn't going to be iconic. It's just not going to tip over. That is what I know is, earlier when I said I'm a 99.9% marketer, I can tell you what is going to tip over and what isn't. Silence has done well, and I'm proud of it, but it isn't going to tip over. It isn't going to go Why? Because it didn't have enough drama. To make people care about free speech, you got to have more conflict, more action, more drama. Silence is a very sober, PBS style, talking heads, Charlie Rose special on free speech. So if you watch Charlie Rose and you listen to NPR, then you're going to watch Silence and think, wow, that was interesting. You're going to think, that is interesting. But if you want it to tip over to the mainstream, you need protests and people with blood spurting out of there. And, oh, you're the best. Thank you. How's the baby?
She just woke up.
Yeah? Is your mama here still?
She was leaving and then she woke up, so my mom.
Oh, so of course she's, yeah. When grandma's over, I don't even try getting near the baby. When grandma's over, I don't even try getting near the baby. Because grandma, this is much, I threw away the other wine. This is a new bottle. When grandma is over, you're not getting near the baby. Which is good. I'm glad. I mean, it's nice. Have you ever read Flow? Yes, I have. Great book. Flashbacks. Don't get too drunk, though I'm not even a little drunk. Flashbacks. I'm in San Francisco. There was a bookstore. Borders. Whoa. A Borders bookstore on 2 blocks from Giant Stadium. If you've ever lived in SF, it was like 2 blocks from Giant Stadium. Borders Books. Man, that shows, like, that was only 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Wow. Yeah, there was Borders Books. Holy shit. Yeah, there was a Borders Books, and then that's where I read Flow. Is I went in there and, I read it in there. And then I bought it. That was back when I was kind of still like a piece of shit. Had a bad mindset. I used to go in and I'd read a book at a bookstore, right? Or I'd read a lot of it. And then I'd order it on Amazon. So I didn't mean to be a bad person, but I just didn't realize, like, hey, if you go into a bookstore and you find a book and then you order it from Amazon, the bookstore is going to go out of business, man. If you like having a... So people are always like, man, what happened to bookstores? And I said, well, why don't you go into Amazon? Why don't you go to a bookstore? And then you go, hey, man, help me find a book. And the book lady or man helps you find the book. And then the person goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to look this up on Amazon. It's cheaper on Amazon. And then they go order on Amazon. Like, what? Where did all the bookstores go, man? Bookstores, out of biz. And then you don't realize, like, yeah, because you're not buying money at a bookstore, right? Get out of here, right? So I was an idiot. I didn't think. It wasn't even me trying to be malicious. And then I realized, oh, if I actually like going to a bookstore and sitting down and reading a book, then maybe I should buy the book that I read in the bookstore. Lights go on. That's why a lot of times when people are mean to me on the internet or in real life, a lot of times people just don't know that they're not making the right choice. A lot of times it's just a lack of education, right? A lot of times nobody's just ever said, hey man, if you want to have independent bookstores, then you need to go into the bookstore and you need to buy a pile of books. And if you buy a pile of books in the bookstore and you buy your coffee in the bookstore and you buy your cookies and your muffins in the coffee shop in the bookstore and you buy your magazines in the bookstore, then you're going to have bookstores because that's overhead. But you got to educate people, right? Just like I've told people, people go, Mike, I want to give you money. I'm like, buy my books. Why? Because that's how I make my money. So a lot of people buy my books because I just tell them, I educate people, and I go, if you like my Periscopes, which are free, then if you buy my books, then I can afford to do Periscopes for free. And then people are like, oh yeah, it makes total sense. But a lot of people, nobody has ever been, they haven't been educated. And I was the same way, and I'm constantly educating myself. You just gotta tell people, like, if you like free stuff, then you gotta, when somebody sells something, you gotta buy whatever they sell. That's what keeps it free. What is the word? There's a word for that. What is the word? There's a word for the freemium. Freemium, I think you call it. Yeah, it's called the freemium. I run the freemium business model. The freemium business model, which is that most of my stuff, 99% is free, and then I sell premium stuff. And the premium stuff pays for the free stuff. So it's called freemium. I think that's the right word. I don't want to educate. I don't want to miseducate you. So I think freemium Okay. Yeah, freemium is a pricing strategy by which a product or service is provided free of charge, but money, i.e. premium, is charged for proprietary features, functionality, or virtual goods. So that's me. Hey, watch my Periscopes. Listen to my podcast. Read my blog posts. Do you like it? Great. Go buy my books. Fund my Kickstarter is, it's a freemium model. That's what I work with. But you got to tell people that you're running the freemium model, right? Because a lot of people, most people, not everybody, there's some real shitbags in this world. Most people, if properly educated, will attempt to do the right thing. Now, there's a lot of qualifiers to that. Most people, I'm not saying be nice to everybody and give people stuff for free. But I'm saying most people, if properly educated, will try to do the right thing. Try to do the right thing doesn't mean they do it, because even I don't do the right thing all the time, because nobody's perfect. Nobody can always do the right thing. But if you properly educate people, then they'll try to do the right thing. So as a marketer, that's why my marketing is so great. All my marketing is education. My marketing is saying, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I would like from you. Can I have it? Right? It's the same thing as you meet a girl. You meet a girl and you think, you know what? Tonight was fun. I want to see you again. Give me your number. Here's my phone. And then she types her phone in the number, or types the number in the phone. And then a couple of days later, you go, meet me here for drinks. Right? This is all marketing is. Telling your story, creating call to action, telling people what you want. Now, that doesn't mean they're always going to give you what you want. I did not write the book Silenced. Silenced is a film. It's a documentary. Silenced is a documentary on free speech. My books are about mindset. Silenced is a documentary on free speech. So Silenced is on Vimeo. It's going to be on Amazon and other places soon too, but it isn't there yet. It's not there yet. So yeah, I run the freemium model. So yeah, you got to tell people what you're doing. That's the thing. Most people are tips for officer candidate school. Tips for officer candidate school. They're going to set you up for failure. When you go to officer candidate school for the Army, they're going to say you have 5 minutes to do this, this, and this. When it's actually going to take you 10. And there's no way that you can do it in 5 minutes. So that is officer candidate school. They want to set you up for failure because they want to see how you respond to failure. Do you lose your cool? Do you freak out? So that's the big thing. Just know that they're setting you up for failure. And proceed accordingly. Don't freak out. Don't get mad. People fight each other. You're not moving quick enough. It's a mind, F-U-C-K. Women flock to confidence, even from douchebags. LOL. Yes. Do you have or recommend a book on debating? As a matter of fact, I do. It is... Where is it? Well, I don't see it. I think it's called Thank You for Arguing. Let me see if I can find it here. Thank You for Arguing. Yes, it is called Thank You for Arguing. What Aristotle, Lincoln, and Homer Simpson can teach us about the art of persuasion. Good book. Thank you for arguing. Thank You for Arguing is the book. Good book. Rhetoric. That's one of the interesting things about... So we live in this dual world, right? We live in this dual world. We live in this dual world where people are like, Mike is crazy. But then when you actually talk to me, when I'm being normal, like right now, this is the real me. If you ever wonder, what is the real Mike Cernovich? Who is the real Mike Cernovich? This is the real me. I'm actually laid, because I only have 300 people. If I had 2,000, 3,000, I'd be like, you know? Just this is the real me. Mellow, chilled out, talking about books I read, drinking a little wine. This is the real me, right? So then people are like, oh my God, you're crazy. But then when you actually talk to me, you realize that I've read every kind of book on persuasion and rhetoric that you could find, and most of what appears to be crazy is just rhetorical strategy. It's just me, antics. That's all it is, antics. So people who haven't had training, people who actually haven't had training in persuasion, they can't recognize antics. They're just like, oh my God, all they see is a madman. Did you see a madman? He's melting down. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's melting down. Oh man. Meltdown. Oh wait, because you mean I'm gesticulating and ranting and screaming and very animated? Whoa, yeah, that isn't a meltdown, idiot. That's just theatrics. But a lot of people don't understand theatrics. So really, I mean, it just goes to show that they're incompetent. Give you a briefer on antics. What do you mean antics? Antics are mood, controlling your mood, pacing, rhythm. Okay, right, I'll tell you. It's called pacing and leading. Right now, the energy that I have is going to be transferred to the energy here. So I need to pace the energy. Pace the energy. P-A-C-E, like pacing, like a running pace. And then when I want to change the pace, then I go faster, I go slower, then I lead. So right now, I'm pacing people for a very mellow night. Even the way I drink my wine. Right? Very, very just chill. Just very chill. But this is going to be jarring because you've already been in a mellow pace. So I can't do it fully. But if there's like a lot of people here, I'm like, and we're back. Mike Cernovich, DangerandPlay.com, Gorilla Minds. I just read this Russian report. Can you believe? Can you believe what they're saying? Then you change. Change like that, right? So people assume that my mood changes are not deliberate. They assume that my mood changes are out of my control. That's because they lack emotional control. So they're like, oh my God, he's melting down. Okay. That's just because they don't have control. Emotional modulation is called, right? You should be able to modulate your emotions. You can go full on freak out. You can go full on mellow. And then it's all about the vibe. It's about the vibe you're always trying to create, right? You're trying to create a vibe. And then your vibe becomes an aura. So you have a vibe, and your vibe is an aura. And then the aura is energy that emanates from you that other people feel. And then when other people feel your aura, that's persuasion. Right? That's persuasion. They feel your aura. And then whatever your aura is, that is going to dictate the way people act, right? The way people act around you. It's aura, vibe. But yeah, people don't get it. So if you want people to feel a certain way, you got to, aura has color. Aura definitely, aura has color, We all have a different color. When you meditate more, you can even see the own color of your aura, right? So my aura has a special kind of color. And then when I'm in a, maybe like a negative mind state or whatever, then what I do is I find my aura and I create the color of my aura, and then that repels away all the negative stuff. People are going, fruit, you're drunk. So that's the thing. People can't talk about, is he drunk? You're blocked because you're just not intelligent enough to be here. If you think I'm drunk, you're just not smart enough to be here. So yeah, your aura has a color. And when you find your aura, you can realize, I'll give you an example. So, way to put this. Have you ever felt like you're going to be caught doing something wrong and you feel like shame? So think back to a time where you felt shame or fear You're going to get caught. Something's bad, right? When you feel that you might be caught doing something, you might be shamed. Do you feel bigger or do you feel smaller? Do you feel yourself expanding? Or do you feel yourself kind of like shrinking up, right? You feel yourself kind of like shrinking. So you're smaller, right? Everybody knows you feel smaller. So think about it. Just think about what is happening. If negative messages are coming in to your brain and that is shrinking you, that's shrinking you. We all know that we feel it. We all know that we feel smaller. Well, aura is about taking that small feeling and using the power of your aura to expand yourself out to make you feel bigger, stronger, more powerful, more protected. So people go, oh, this aura stuff is crazy. Oh, it's aura. You have a blue aura, a cobalt blue aura that you meditate on when you're under attack, and then that makes you have more energy and abundance and expand your consciousness. Boy, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But then when I just say, well, if that doesn't make any sense, then why do you feel smaller when you're under attack? Because you shouldn't. That your aura is shrinking. But nobody's ever told you it's aura, or they go, oh, aura, that's dumb. This is crazy, you know. So your aura shrinks. Your aura shrinks when you're under attack. And if you want to learn how to overcome that, then you have to learn how to grow your aura. And you expand it, and then it becomes larger and more abundant. And then you know what happens. Then you know what happens. As you learn how to expand your aura, other people feel it. And then what you'll notice, here's what you'll notice. When you have strong aura, you'll be walking and people will walk towards you. They'll come towards you. Why? Because it's magnetic, it's attraction. So when I'm, and try it this way, Just get pumped up, you feel good about life, maybe listen to good music, dress nicely, and just go walk in a public place like a mall, where you just feel good. You feel good about life, you're hyped, you're on point, and you're walking down a lane in the mall. And then pay attention. People will, if you're walking this way and people are walking that way, you'll notice them start to come this way diagonally towards you, as if you're drawing them. That's why we call it magnetism. Think about all these terms people use that you take for granted. Animal magnetism. Because if you're walking and you're on point, man, you're on point, and you're on your A game and you're walking, just straight line, then you'll notice, just look at the corner of your eye, people will start to walk towards you. And sometimes people will actually bump into you because you have such a strong magnetic pull from yourself because of your aura, because your aura is really strong. People don't realize. The same thing is true, but maybe you're walking and you feel yourself pull towards somebody, right? Maybe that is because they have strong aura. Yeah, but people don't talk about this stuff, you know? But I don't even talk about everything I know. I don't even think I've ever talked about aura. I don't think I've ever talked about aura before. But yeah, it's something that emanates from you. And then when you have enough aura, then it's called charisma. That is charisma. Charisma is when your aura is so abundant and so powerful and so strong, and you emanate so much life, then people are drawn to you. And that's ultimately charisma. And charisma is what? Persuasion. Charisma is persuasion. So yeah, people don't want to talk about this. Aura, well, it isn't that you go from aura to charisma to persuasion. Persuasion is just a general thing that, if you're charismatic, then you're persuasive. Right? Charisma is the result of aura. If you don't have a powerful aura, then you don't have any charisma. Because charisma is energy that people feel drawn to. Right? That's aura. Because they feel your aura. So yeah, you got to have aura, and then aura leads to charisma. And if you have charisma, you're persuasive. Bill Clinton, one of the most charismatic people of our time, of our generation. Definitely of our generation. And that's why, I mean, Trump has charisma. But Trump's aura, here's what's interesting. This might come as a surprise to a lot of you. Do we have Trump supporters in here, or are they not Trump supporters? It doesn't matter. You can be Hillary, Bernie, Trump, Jill Stein. I don't really care. So I'll give you a little tip. Even though I supported Trump, and even though I voted for Trump, and even though I helped Trump win, Trump's aura does not draw me in. I'm actually not compatible with Trump's aura. So if you put Trump and me in a room, our auras would clash. It would be an immediate, it would be unconscious, but you would be able to feel it. So if Trump and I were both in the same room and we sat down by each other, the auras it would be like two orbs hitting each other. So his aura is completely different from mine. And that's why I've told people, I go, I don't particularly like Trump. And people are like, what? You hate Trump? How can you hate Trump but support him? And I was like, no. I'm not saying I hate Trump. I'm just saying that I don't particularly like him, which is a way of saying I'm not drawn into his aura. I don't feel tingles or, the hair on your neck. It is not an aura. Our auras aren't compatible. So if you put us in the same room, we actually couldn't work together. Because our auras are different. His aura is a different color than mine too. And the colors of our aura are different and they're incompatible actually. So they would actually repel each other. There would be a big conflict between me and Trump. It just wouldn't work. So that is another thing. And that's why sometimes you meet somebody, you don't really like them, but you don't have a reason why. It's because they have a different aura than you. And if you're not, I've been in the same room as Trump. Thank you. So yeah, been in a room, it's okay. It's just a different, what do the colors mean? You got to figure that out for yourself. I don't want to give away too much. Because I usually don't talk about auras. You need to smoke DMT. I've done ayahuasca and 5-MeO DMT. Fuck, man, how do you see auras? LOL. I can see that you have a negative aura across the internet. I can tell that you are a low energy, lack of focus, beta male. Because men don't talk like that. How do you see fuck, man? How do you see colors? LOL. Your aura is the aura of a loser. You don't even have an aura. You don't even have a color to your aura because you are dead inside. Dead inside. That's just the truth. A lot of men are dead inside. They don't even have an aura. There is no aura. Can two alphas get along when they first meet? Oh, of course. Putin and Trump would get along because they have similar aura, similar vibe. Putin and I wouldn't get along. If Putin and I were in the same room, he would give me a look over and he would give me this nasty look. And then we would avoid each other the whole night. And then if we were pressed together and we met, it would be very stilted. It wouldn't be natural. There would be no flow. Ways to start looking for auras. You got to look inside first. You got to look inside your own self to find your own aura. Because think about it. If you live by yourself, not you live with other people, but I mean, if you live with yourself, then you can't find your own aura. Then how can you find the auras of other people? You got to look inside. You have to look inside yourself. Can auras be faked? Once you create an energy is an energy. But you can create false energy. So an evil person like Charles Manson can create love. So this is a weird thing, right? Weird thing. Charles Manson, great book by Charles Manson. I'll tell you the book title. Highly recommend you read this. Charles Manson, I think it's called In His Own Words. Yeah. Charles Manson, In His Own Words, The Shocking Confession of the Most Dangerous Man Alive. Right? Fantastic book. So Charles Manson was a psychopath, a sociopath, a mass murderer, you name it, right? Evil guy. Evil guy. But Charles, Shabbat, shalom to you. Charles Manson was evil, but he made people feel that he loved them, right? He took mixed up people and made them feel loved. If you read his book, there's a lot of parallels to today's society. There's a lot of parallels to today's society. Right now, there are a lot of men who are kind of lost and they don't have any meaning. It's a very dangerous time for America. Very, very dangerous time for America. You have a lot of young men who they don't really have job prospects. Maybe they have student loan debt. Maybe they dropped out of college because college is rigged against men. There's all these men who have no meaning in their lives. And you know what's going to happen? Somebody is going to bring meaning to the lives of these men. And when you do that, you got an army. So America is in a highly volatile time where you have young men without purpose. They don't have meaning. They don't have religion. They don't have family. They don't have job prospects. Even universities, a scam. They might be indebted. There's no confidence. They're confused. And a charismatic leader will rise up and do something with them. They will, 100%. We have an entire generation of lost men. I know Sarah's crying, she's with her grandma. So we have an entire generation of American men who are completely lost. And a Charles Manson, charismatic type figure, he's going to do something with them. The Charles Manson kind of figure is going to do something with these men, and it ain't going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. So if there's not anybody right now who, because I'll be completely honest with you, I could have created gotta word this carefully. The direction I was headed, I could have created a fascist movement in America. So if I'd wanted to be the face of neo-fascism in the United States, then I could have done that. I could have created a neo-fascist movement because I have the charisma, I have the persuasion, I have the presence, I just simply could have. And that is why so many people got mad at me, because they felt betrayed. You know, a lot of these men were looking to me for meaning, and then they got really angry at me, and now they're turning on me. The mob has turned on me. Only because I didn't want them to go down that route. That's the thing. I don't want men to find the charismatic fascist leader, because they're only going to get into trouble. They're only going to get into problems. And what I saw, this movement of all these young men, I saw that going off in a wrong path ended up with people in federal investigations, just a lot of problems. So I was just thinking, I wanted to try to do like a little course correction. And they just got mad at me, and now they turned on me. So now they turn on me, and if somebody who has true charisma, right now there's nobody with you need gentlemanship and charisma. It isn't enough to be charismatic. Milo has amazing charisma. Milo is amazing charisma, highly persuasive. But if you want to create this massive movement, then they have to have charisma, they have to have gentlemanship. By that I mean they have to know how to lead the troops. You got to know how to rally the troops, you got to know how to lead the troops, and to be a general, this is what nobody tells you. To be a general, you have to be selfless. Nobody tells you this. People think, oh man, you're gonna be big star, big general, big time. But you're actually giving yourself of other people. So it's this paradox where you have all of these people who worship you and adore you, but what you get out of that is you're giving to them all the time. Nobody understands that. If you're the general, you eat last. People think if you're the general, you eat first. If you're the general, you make sure that the troops are taken care of before anything. If the troops aren't taken care of, then you're not taken care of. So to being a general is all about, you got to take care of the troops, you got to take care of the soldiers. You have to be a selfless personality. And then you have to have good gentlemanship. So there's a good quote, Lawrence of Arabia. We'll play it. I'm a river to my people. It's a great one.
3 great wounds, all got in battle. 75 men have I killed with my own hands in battle. I scatter, I burn my enemies' tents. I take away their flocks and herds. The Turks pay me a golden treasure, yet I am poor, because I am a river to my people.
You hear that? The Turks give me a great treasure, but I am poor because I'm a river to my people. That's real gentlemanship, is you have to be a river. That means they drink from you, right? So you have to have, the people are constantly drinking from the river. That's what people don't realize. So you think, oh, I'm going to get famous. That's where a lot of people who become famous, that's why they end up losing their minds, is because they're like, oh my God, I'm famous. I have all these admirers. But if you are a true leader, you're actually giving to them. You're thinking, are they okay? Is everything all right with them? All right, is everybody taken care of? I better check that out. You got to check that out. You got to check that out. And then what happens is a lot of people are parasites, and then they attach themselves to you, and they steal from you, backstab you, make promises that they don't keep. Right? So there's a lot of people who they take, and that's all they do. But the right person, the right man is the right man who wants to create a fascist movement in America. He could. He's got, I would estimate that if you could recruit 2 million men for a fascist movement in America. At least 1 million. If you were a highly charismatic man with gentlemanship and you really wanted to do something big in America, then you would have 1 or 2 million men willing to go to storm the gates of hell with you. So in America, you could have an army of 1 to 2 million men if you had the right charisma, the right gentlemanship, easily. Because there's an entire generation of lost men. They got nothing, they're just lost. Now, a lot of people say they've been pussified, but see, that's the thing. That's the thing. Men who are beta cucks, right? Men who are pussified, they know that is not natural. They know that is not right. So if you tell them that you can correct that is how you create a new fascist movement in America. You would just say, I could think of the pitch right. I got to be careful. Because people are going to say, Mike, you're advocating fascism. I'm not actually advocating fascism. I'm saying that I could have, and I took a different route because I didn't want people to end up in a lot of trouble. But you would just say to men, you would say, you know what? You feel it inside yourself. You wake up and you just know something's wrong. You look around at this debased, degenerate society where men aren't respected. The baby boomers are trying to enslave you into debt. They told you go to college and they put you in debt, even though they knew there were no jobs. And they won't step aside for you. Is this what life is about? Is this all there is in life? Or is there more to life? You are destined for greatness. You are destined for so much more. The life that you are living, that isn't the life that you should have had. You have a birthright. You have a right to be great. You feel it inside yourself. You feel the pride rising up inside yourself. You know that you can do great things, and together we can do massive things. It's time for us to unite and join. They have declared war on us. They have declared war on us. They're trying to destroy us. They're trying to kill us. But if we unite together, then we can take this country back. Yeah. That's a quick pitch, off the top of my head. But that's the kind of pitch that you would use. You just, some kind of pitch, and then you would refine it, and then you would practice it in a mirror. You would, get your gestures properly. You would do the acting. You do all that, right? So you draft out that little script, and then you perform it in the mirror. You learn how to do it. You do the theatrics. Then you got an army, man. And then you keep building that army. And then you're promising meaning, something more. People want meaning in their lives. And you're offering them meaning. And then you just keep building it up, man. So yeah, I could have done that if I wanted to. But I don't want these kids getting in trouble, man. That's the thing. That's the thing is, even the trolls who troll me, I love these guys. They don't, that's why they try to hurt me with their trolling. They try to hurt me. But they don't realize that I love these guys. Because I know that they're just lost and they don't have meaning. And they thought that they could find meaning through me, and now they feel betrayed because I'm not their answer. I'm not their salvation. So I know what they're going through. So they attack me, and I'm just thinking, man, I know that you want meaning, that you don't have anything else going on in your life, and you have been lied to by society. You've been lied to, and I want you to find an answer. I want you to find an answer within inside yourself, right? So they can't hurt me because I know that they're suffering. I know that there's a lot of men who are suffering and looking for purpose and looking for meaning. So for me, my heart is just love for them. Just love for all the trolls who hate on me all the time. I'm thinking, guys, I want you to be better, But you can't find your meaning through me. You got to find meaning only in yourself, man. But anyway, I'll have an interesting conversation. What do you think? 10,000. Good conversation. Did we have a good conversation, right? We don't. Maybe we'll have some more. We haven't had a deep conversation in a while. We haven't had a good, deep, free-ranging conversation in a while. But I thought it was a good combo. All right, guys. I'm gonna go. I gotta go. Why? Because it's hot in here. I'm sweating. Whew. Overheating. This room is very, very hot. Should I delete the Periscope or should I leave it up? I'll leave it up for, 24 hours. All right, I'll leave the Periscope up I'll leave it up. I'll leave it up for a day. So I won't delete it right now. So you can go through and you can watch the whole thing. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Mike Cernovich, DangerandPlay.com, Gorilla Mindset. Have a nice night.